Oh, you know it's serious when this microphone comes out. This is a quick video of my 5 tips for you guys for your Spa 24, so let's get on with it. Tip number 5. It's a long race. It's 24 hours. Whatever time you start, you've got to wait till tomorrow until it finishes. That's how long it is. 1,440 minutes, 86,400 seconds, and over 600 laps depending on what split you're in. So, you can't win it on lap 1. Tip number 4. Now, the person that will win your split in your race at your time slot will be the person with the lowest average lap time. Doesn't matter about fastest lap. Don't even try and go for those stupid 17s or 16s or 15s or whatever them stupid aliens are doing. Forget about it. Just be consistent. Keep it on the track. Don't get penalties with off track. It is Spa and it is renowned for off track, so don't do that. Don't damage any panels that you have to go in for repairs or a meat bore or anything like that. The only time you go into the pits is tyres, fuel, driver swap. End of story. If you do that, you will finish well. You will guarantee to finish well. Mark my words. If you keep that car rolling lap after lap after lap after lap and keep it moving, and the only time you stop is to do them 3 things I mentioned, you will do well. Mark my words. Bear that in mind if you're battling someone. It will be far better to sit behind him and cruise. If you're similar on pace, obviously, if you're like 2 seconds quicker than him, get past him. But if you're similar on pace, take a chill pill. Get your teammates to look when he last pit. See if he's going to pit in the next 5 laps. Is he going to pit in the next 10 laps? You can sit behind him for 10 laps. You can save some fuel. Be wonderful. Think about the long race. Don't think about the immediate person you're racing on track at the moment. It will be vastly different in an hour. It will be different again in 2 hours. It will be different again in 10 hours. Keep your average lap time low. Tip number 3. Save fuel. Now, there is no point you coming into the pits after you've done a wonderful stint and you've got 0x from your stint and you haven't battled anyone. There is no point you coming into the pit with half a lap left in the tank. You've carried that round for the entire stint for no reason at all. You didn't need it. You didn't use it. It was pointless. Now, it might not sound a lot, but in this race, you're doing about 25, maybe 24 to maybe 27 or 28 stops in this race. Scheduled stops, that is. Not if you stuff it in a wall, which you don't want to do, obviously. Scheduled stops. So you carrying around half a gallon for those 25 stops adds up to quite a lot of laps. So work out your fuel usage. See how much at end of stint, if you're coming back with half a lap of fuel, you may as well save a little bit. Get that extra half a lap, get an extra lap in the stint, come in with maybe 0.1 or 0.2 left in the tank. Absolutely superb, because you're stopping that many times. If you can save a lap, say if we stop 25 times, I'm saying 5. If you stop 25 times in the race, you save a lap each stint, that's another stint, which means at the end of the race, you can save yourself an entire pit stop just by getting 1 lap extra in a 25 lap stint. It's all about averages. Doesn't matter if you're going out there doing blistering 16s all the damn time. If you can get an extra lap in, you won't have to stop in the pit lane, which given the pit lane at Spa is massive, is literally about a minute 30 of sitting there doing nothing. So if you can save that, you're a lap ahead, or well, at least 3/4. So bear that in mind. Save fuel like you've paid for it. Tip number 2, the pit lane is long. It is very long. It's actually 2 pit lanes that are nailed together in the middle. So as you're coming into the pits, it's on the last chicane, as you probably already know. You want to keep to the right. So don't be battling the car into the last chicane, because that's just stupid. Why do you want to be battling the car as you're coming into the pits? You want a nice clear line of sight into the pits. It's very tight. It's awkward. You don't want to be touching the wall through there to damage your car, because remember, we don't want to be in the pits for any longer than we need to. We need to keep this car moving. So clear entry to pit lane and make sure you don't hit the wall on the way in. It is very snug in there, so be cautious. You'll have the GP or the proper F1 pits, as I call it, and then you go the inside of turn 1, which is very tricky. People will crash there, so make sure you practice going around there and take it easy. It's a little bit slippery. It's over a little bump as well. Do not lose control. Do not try and save half a second by pushing this corner and trying to get that little bit. You will lose far more. Risk to reward, huge risk, not a lot of reward for taking that corner. Absolutely perfect. So bear that in mind. Then you go down the hill for the second pit stop. So make sure you practice your pit entry on the endurance layout, because it is vastly different from any other pit layout. Pit exit as well is you come up Eau Rouge, sort of on the right hand side of it, and then you wiggle out and you're on the infill, and you're on the sort of no man's land of concrete over there, and you come out and you kind of come out on the racing line. So make sure you got your spotter turned on, you check your relative, you've maybe got a teammate online to say, right, there's a car 3 seconds behind you. The general rule is when you come out of the pit, you stay on the right-hand side. Stay on the right-hand side until you find a nice gap in the traffic and weave in. Usually later on in the race, the track will be quite empty, but you need to be cautious about cars behind you because they will be going a lot faster than what you will. So it's an easy way to lose the race. Again, averages, doesn't matter if we lose a second here and there, we just want to keep that car rolling. Tip number 1, the last tip, do some nighttime practice. Please do some nighttime practice. Now, have a look on the schedule because you'll get the time and date of when the race is, or the sim time, I should say. It's the 1st and 2nd of July is the sim time, so bear that in mind. Race starts officially, sim time, 4 o'clock. Go and do a test, host a tested session, so you don't have to go into it, just prepare one up and click those days. On that little icon there, it will tell you sunrise and sunset time. So you can tell from that when it's going to get dark. It's not going to be dark for the majority of the race, but it's going to be dark for a considerable amount of hours. You need to practice the dark. It is by far one of the easiest times to lose control of the car because it is vastly different out there at Spa. We don't have a lot of circuits. There's a lot of main lights on the grandstands area, but once you go out in the wilderness and off into Narnia, it's pretty dark out there. Your braking points will be similar. In fact, you'll probably be faster in the night because the track and air temps are cooler, so the car should like it a bit better and go faster. But you can't prepare because the lights don't have a lot of distance. If you're following someone as well, you need to be cautious because they might be there. You might use their lights, and then when they pit or something on a different strategy to you, you might then lose that. So you need to do some nighttime practice by yourself so you're confident that you can keep the car running. Again, going to mention it again and again and again, averages. We need to keep this car rolling and keep that average lap time as low as possible. So you need to practice some nighttime. Also, you need to practice at night because other cars might have issues. So when you have an issue in iRacing, you may knock your lights out and not have any lights. So you may see one red light going around the track and you think, what the hell's that? It's a car that doesn't have one tail light. So, bear that in mind. You might see a car with no headlights. So you need to know what you're doing in the night. So then anything else that crops up and surprises you, you're not concentrating on driving because you're doing that on sort of, subconscious. You're looking at that going, oh, that's interesting. That's what you need to do. You need to be as good at night as you are in the day. Right, 5 tips done and dusted. Hope they were helpful. You probably did know them, but it's just good to be cautious of these things because they, a few of them in there can be race ruiners as well. So bear that in mind. Ultimately, big end of this video, you got to keep rolling. So use that famous song, keep rolling, 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 and you should be golden. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you on the track at Spa.